Listen, I am very, very happy to have the three of you as panelists on this podcast, Anniversary Live Show. This is 4 years of passion. This is 4 years of dedication, but it's 4 years of bringing stories just like yours to the forefront. And so they understood the assignment. Everybody say, and did. Look at this emerald green. I'm just loving it. You know, Norman brought out the velvet. Velvet.
Yeah, my mind now.
I love it. You'll just flip it up. Yeah, and so I really love and I appreciate the fact that you took time out of your busy schedule on a beautiful Saturday to be here with us. And so I want to just dive in. So Ms. Martin, first and foremost, thank you so much for being here. Ms. Martin is filling in for Ms. 𝗏𝗀𝗏. I hear that you're besties, and Ms. 𝗏𝗏𝗏 is my sorority sister, and so she's like, I've got to get somebody dynamic for the panel, and she did just that. And so you want to introduce yourself again? Well, don't introduce yourself, because I did that, but tell us what you consider to be your comeback story, because you have a powerful one.
Yeah, thank you for asking. So you're right, I'm the Vice President of Business and Economic Development for Suncoast Credit Union. I actually ended up becoming a banker at the ripe old age of 22 because I had all of the poor financial habits that my parents did, and I actually had to file bankruptcy. And I thought, man, I screwed up my life before it even started. And so I figured the best way to make sure it never happened again was to do it for a living, and that's actually how I became a banker. So I went from bankruptcy to the boardroom, and now I'm actually helping to run the 8th largest credit union in the country.
Yep.
But in that, there's always more to the story, right? So after starting to get my life back together, credit scores starting to go up, we're working really hard. On my way home from work one night, I was hit twice by the same semi and lost control of the vehicle and ended up breaking my neck and my back. I was in a wheelchair and bedridden for 5 years, and the doctor said that I would never walk, never be able to have kids, never be able to do pretty much anything. I actually remember the emergency room doctor going, well, honey, I guess your kickboxing career is over. So guess what was the first thing I learned how to do when I got better? So after this accident, I ended up with $2 million worth of medical debt, 19 total neck and back surgeries. And I thought, well, I can't file bankruptcy again. How am I going to do all of this? This is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. I had PTSD, major depressive disorder. I was in so much pain. I could barely function. And there were times that I truly was just negotiating with myself just to make it through the next 10 seconds. And when you are negotiating 10 seconds at a time, that is not a quality of life. So, similar to my good friend Lisa Sunshine, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what I was doing wasn't working. I was telling everybody, this is the worst thing that could have ever happened to me. And it just wasn't getting any better. So I thought, as a joke, I thought, well, you know, opposite day kind of worked as a kid. How about, does it work as an adult? And so I just started telling everybody this was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. And I got a lot of crazy looks, even more so than normal today on the street. But it ended up changing my life. In less than a year, I ended up finding a medical solution. I have machines that are actually scarred onto my spinal cord. So I have a battery on this side that controls from here up, and a battery on this side that controls from here down. I've got wires that run all the way up my back, and it basically, the electricity that is being put right into my spinal cord stimulates the muscles, but it also interrupts the pain signal that's going to my brain. So I'm still in pain, but I can't feel it. I don't have to take any narcotics, and I'm able to function. You would never know to see me today that I was ever in a wheelchair. I think the best part of the comeback story is our son, Gabriel. So we were able to have a son. He's now 11, and we have the best time. And
I love 11-year-olds. I have an 11-year-old too.
So now I spend the majority of my time trying to share my joy and teaching people the same thing that I learned the hard way. If I can help you not have to go through what I went through to learn this joy and how to never have a bad day again, all you have to do is change your mindset. Make sure every day is a great day, no matter what. Those bad things that happen, they really are opportunities. I remember I was walking out here the other day, my purse strap broke, all my stuff went on the ground. It was like a garage sale. And all of a sudden I hear, Alisha. And this guy that I've been trying to get in touch with for 2 months pulls up, jumps out, helps me get all my stuff together, we chat, and then he goes about his way. Had I stood there mad, pissed, cursing and screaming, upset, or had that never happened at all, I probably would still be trying to get a hold of him. So saying all that to say, these are opportunities, they're not bad things. I call them black bow gifts. People talk about, I want a new car, I hate my car, I hate my life. All of these opportunities and changes come to you, but they don't come like on the commercials with the big red bow on the car. They come in the form of car accidents, they come in the form of divorce, death, but the moment that you embrace those, everything changes. So that's a little bit about my comeback story, and excited to get to know you guys a little bit more and share.
Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you better too. We're gonna for the audience to do just that. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏, I like to put doctor in front of your name. Can I? She never tells people to do that. But Dr. 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗀𝗏 Smith, tell me what you consider to be your comeback.
That was a hard story to follow. I could listen to her all day. I would say that my whole life I had wanted to be an attorney, and I felt like that dream was escaping me at some point in time. I graduated from Florida State, and I did not. Go Nose, girl. But I got home and I wanted to take a break, and I needed, some time and some money and things like that. And my parents did not really support that decision, because you know what they say, if you stop, you're not going to go back, right? And so I just felt I was going to go back, but I needed a break. And so I was trying to get into law school. I was trying to take the 𝐿𝑆AT and get a higher score, and it just didn't seem to really work out for me. And in the midst of that, I started teaching, and at the time someone said, they're hiring people who graduated as teachers if you just want to go down there and get you a job. So I was like, okay, let me go. So I went and I got hired, and the guy came in the classroom one day, I think it was Victor Duncan, and he said, hey, somebody told me you graduated from college. I was like, I did, and he was like, well, you know what? We can pay you I think it was $70 a day or something or whatnot. And I was making maybe $55 a day. And I was like, okay, sign me up. So anyway, I started teaching, and I didn't give up on my goal, right? I kept going back, and I kept working at taking the 𝐿𝑆AT. And even though everything in front of me said, you're probably not gonna go back, how are you gonna go to school? By that time, my mom was like, hey, you gotta stand on your own 2 feet. I can't give you all these things. And it was just a lot of stuff that kept coming at me. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna speak it every single day, that I'm gonna go to school, I'm gonna become an attorney, that's what God has for me, and I'm gonna achieve that goal. But what I'm also going to do is I am gonna make the best of every single day that I have right here. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna teach those 4th grade kids like nobody's business. I am gonna be the best teacher ever, because if you're a good steward over something, I believe that God looks at that and he sees that, and he'll give you more, and it'll prepare you for your next set. So I came in every day just trying to work it. It took a little bit of time. I wasn't the best teacher at first, but I kept going and I kept giving it my all. And I used to tell people every day I showed up at 150%. No matter what, it was, if I was upset or something happened, I dropped it at the door, because it was not the kids' fault. And trust me, there were some days where I used to say this, I'm going in because Miss so-and-so don't do nothing any day. Them kids just sitting there all day. I'm going in today, I'm tired, I'm gonna put some board work on the board, and I'm gonna tell them, be quiet, don't say nothing, because I got a referral right here. Who name wanna go on top of it? Say it, because the day you going up there, I'm finna just sit right here by the button. And then, you know what, I would get in the door and a kid would come in, and I was like, man, come on, you can't do that. You cannot behave that way. You can't, they deserve your best. And so in that, I started to get promotions within the school board. So long story short, I ended up becoming a reading coach, an assistant principal, and a principal, and it was very fast. I think I moved to the school board in maybe 3 years or so, I think, from being a teacher. And I was not an elementary major, I was an English major. So I had to go back and I had to become, elementary ed like certified. But what I did is someone gave me a nugget, and they said, if you go get your master's in educational leadership, they'll exempt you from taking all the education classes. And I was like, oh, and that will help me go to law school, because it'll make myself more marketable. I'll have a higher degree. I can get a master's degree, and then I got work experience. So I'm gonna shift this so that they see me as a good whole person and a candidate, because I don't know why I didn't get in, but I felt like I should have gotten in, and I thought maybe it's just not time. I never thought it wasn't for me. So fast forward, I become a principal and all this stuff, and I don't give up, and I go to law school and I get in, and I get out, and I fail the test, and I sit for the Florida bar multiple times. I couldn't pass it. And I thought, this is insane, right? I worked so hard to get there, and I have all this debt. I'm like $200,000 in the hole, and everybody that I was going to law school with, they're now in law firms, they're doing all this stuff, and I'm still teaching. Well, I'm still in administration, and it was a lot, but I just kept going. And then one day, my husband said, he used to be a bailiff before he, left the sheriff's department. He said, you know what, I think you could do it, if you just try really hard. And so I was like, what, I'm tired, I'm gonna have me a baby. Like, I need to have a baby, I need a break, right? Because I was waiting so long to have a child. And then I had the child, and a friend of mine called, and they said, what are you doing now? And I was like, oh, honey, I'm at home, I'm doing whatever they do, they rest. He said, you need to study. And I'm like, what? He's like, you're always so busy, so study now while you're on maternity leave. There's nothing stopping you from studying. So my father-in-law got up with me like every day, and he helped me to exercise. And my friend bought me a book with Les Brown. A lot of, if you're in education, you've heard of him. And he told me to listen to it every day. I didn't have any money then. I was kind of like, broke after I decided I wasn't going to go back, right, to the school board and all this type of stuff. And I took a leap of faith, and I passed the test, and so I ended up becoming an attorney. So, it was a long journey. I'm just saying that, long journey. So that's my comeback story.
Thank you for that, and we're gonna get into like some more nuggets of how our stories parallel, because you just inspired me a lot. We've had this conversation before, and you've been on the podcast actually before, and we've talked about certain things, and so you just make me so proud. So I just want you to know that again and again and again every time I get a chance to say it. And so, Mr. Norman Harris, Norman, what do you consider to be your comeback story?
Hello, everyone. So my comeback story I would consider would be really just finding myself and accepting who I am as a person, and embracing my flaws and all my positives. So my cousin, he was very impactful on like really my transformation started in 2024 of really just once I turned 35. I always said that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I wanted to be a business owner, but I don't like taking risks. So you can't, it don't work like that. So I said, I'm gonna be a woulda, shoulda, coulda if I don't take a risk. So I didn't want to be that. And my cousin, he told me something that was very profound, and he's a former, had a rough life and made some bad decisions. And he said, man, what's wrong with what you're doing? Why what you do can't be cool? I thought that, and you hear the stories here today, and I was like, well, I didn't have a life of pain and tragedy. I didn't have a life, like I had both parents in my life, and I started embracing, like, you know what? Every man that's probably well known, they always have that tragedy story. But what black man that has a story that shared, like, I had a good daddy, I had a good mama, I come from a good household, and I'm still a real dude. Like, so I said, I started embracing like healthcare. I started embracing my path and my journey, and a lot of people started like taking notoriety to it and actually embracing what I was doing. And I said I wanted to be able to give information to people in an entertaining way, in my way, be able to help people in my way, because there's a lot of people in healthcare, from CNAs to nurses, that do a whole lot of hard work that don't get highlighted. So I started highlighting the people and made them the real true celebrities, and people just really started embracing. It's a lot of information that in my household, those conversations didn't happen. From knowing about healthcare, knowing about caregiving, knowing about if something happened to mom or dad, what actually we supposed to do as children, as caregivers. If it's not one thing you will learn in life, every single one of us will become a caregiver at some point in time. So I said, I'm going to start sharing that information, because as an administrator, as you stated, I would see so many families, their mom have a stroke one day, go to the hospital, and then for the next 10 years or whatever, how many years, they're in the nursing home. So nobody has that plan or have that thought process about their lives, right? You going around one day, you can go walk outside and fall out, and then your next 10, 15 years, you're in a nursing home. You never imagine that. So, but those conversations about power of attorney, will, trust, those conversations I didn't grow up having in my household. So I started embracing like that journey. I started sharing that information, and I took being a sore eye in my industry in healthcare, you know, black male, bald beard, you don't really see that a whole lot. And I said, I'm going to turn that into a positive. Like, I'm going to shine. I'm going to, you know, stand out. Like, you know, turn that sore eye into a positive, into a diamond. And that's what I started doing. So I created Comfort Measures Consultant to help out families in need from an advocacy standpoint. And I started a podcast because I wanted to provide healthcare information where people will want to tune in during their leisure time. Because healthcare, people see it as boring, or you only tune in when you need it, right? So I said, how can I get the message out in my personality, in my way? And that's what I did. So I started that vision, and it's growing. You was a big inspiration, just seeing how hard you work and not giving up, because it is a journey altogether. But a lot of people like take a liking to what I'm doing, and I'm just building it out.
I love that. I love that. Listen, those of you who do have podcasts, if you want to get into podcasting, definitely tap into Norman, and then definitely if you have any healthcare concerns, I'm going to just share a personal story on how we met. This is the power of networking. This is the power of using social media to your advantage. And so I was online one day, and I can't remember what I was promoting for, but I was in a space where I wanted to meet other podcasters in Central Florida, right? And so when I was doing this, I did a search, and I went into some podcast groups. One out of Tampa, one out of Orlando, some out of Miami, and I just put a filler out there. I was like, hey, I want to connect with other podcasters because I want to see what you guys are doing. How are you growing your brand? How are you growing, you know, your channel, your podcast? And Norman reached out to me, and it's like from that day forth, like he reached out to me, he told me what he was doing. He's like, I'm not too far from you, I'm in the Tampa area. And just that conversation online just turned into a relationship. Like, I consider him my brother now. Like, he looks out for me. Like, he'll give me opportunities, I'll give him opportunities, he'll watch what I'm doing. I'm like, Norman, you can turn your podcast into this, or you can do that. Norman, can you pop your collar for a second? Because tell me what conferences you are now bringing your podcast to in his industry, in the healthcare field. Like, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, so I really don't like bragging on myself.
What?
So yeah.
What?
Well, I did my first conference that I ever did was God opened up the door where I did the Florida Healthcare Long-Term Care Conference, which is the largest in the Southeast. I was the only podcast there, premier podcast there. So I've done the Florida Medical Director Association Conference, the Florida Director of Nursing Administration Conference. I'm booked for conferences next year, nurse leadership. So it's just really just doors, things that I never even imagined happen. So happened once I started my business. Like in 2 weeks, I was on the radio just from sharing my vision and my story. So I can just say for real, like finding your purpose and your passion and connecting what you do with your purpose and your passion. Like, it was really life changing for me because I never been a confident person. I never been a person that want to be in front of the camera or like want a lot of attention. That's not me. That's still not me. I don't really care for social media, period. But like, I share my message that way, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and thank you so much. And so this is a personal testament. They shared their comeback stories, but this year, what I wanted to do with this 4-year anniversary show, I wanted to give you some topics, some areas that I felt that you would benefit from. And so, of course, the Health and Wealth panel, I've specifically used Norman in the health space. My brother came home from California. He had been gone a very long time, and he had a health crisis as soon as he got here, and we didn't know what to do. And so I called Norman because I was like, Norman, listen, this is what the hospital is telling us. This is eventually he was going to be put in a nursing home for rehabilitation. It was so overwhelming. And we come from a huge family. And coming from a huge family and no one not being able to do what we felt we needed to do, like we just didn't know what to do. Like they're telling us this, but what about this? They're doing this, but what about that? And as that healthcare professional on the management side, like he literally walked me through what I should do. And I was blowing up our family text message thread. Like, listen, he said, my friend Norman said, we need to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I know they may have gotten tired of me doing that, but I appreciate you giving, you know, that guidance in that arena. And I just feel like a lot of us, like he stated before, we don't know a lot about the healthcare field, like when it comes to power of attorney, when it comes to having our wills and our trusts and all of that. And then that's where, you know, 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁 comes in as well into the conversation. But I just wanted to be able to give you professionals who are really at the top of their game in the health and wealth space that could come and just talk to you and pour into you. I want to switch it over to Ms. Martin, because Ms. Martin, you are the vice president in a sector of Suncoast Bank. And so you are the top in your industry at getting small businesses their loans or funding. Can you tell me about the work that you do, and then how can someone lean into those resources at a bank?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So one of my passions is small businesses. Suncoast is the largest CDFI in the country, and we were able to gain that designation through our microlending program. Because I started in this industry bankrupt and, you know, with a 405 credit score, to me, I know that I'm more than my credit score, regardless of what that number is. And what's really unique and special about this program that we've built is whether your business is 3 years or younger, or you're an entrepreneur that is just starting out, we truly believe that that's the lifeblood of our economy. These are the leaders that we want to support. So you can actually work with us and get a loan anywhere from as little as $500. So maybe you just need a little bit to start, all the way up to $50,000, even with a credit score as low as 570, so that you can get out, get into the world, get your business going. And it's not just giving you a loan. It's all about who you know, right? Making those connections and asking those questions. Well, we know a lot of people. So depending on the business, we want to connect you with community partners that are also going to help you, mentor, guide you, make sure you have your business plan together, make sure you know a great attorney, make sure you have a CPA or an accountant. All those things that we see all these successful businesses do, give you that information and then give you that capital access to it to get started and then get out there. And we stay along with you. You have a personal banker that you can text or call, ask questions to. We're a firm. I was embarrassed for years after my bankruptcy to go in and ask for a loan, or even to go in and make a deposit. I was just ashamed, and they didn't know. I mean, you can't see your credit score just going in to make a deposit, but I didn't know that. And so we really want to create those relationships so that you can ask even what you think are the silly questions, even though there truly is no such thing as a silly question, but it takes those relationships, right? So that's what makes it a little unique. We're very passionate about it. If you guys are interested in information, we can certainly, I have some cards, make sure we get you connected with the right people. Over there, I have a whole team that we all work together to try to help support, and we do this all over the state of Florida. So I cover the whole state of Florida. So I'm a professional fugitive. I'm always on the run in a different city every day, but I have an amazing team that helps, and this is truly what we do, and we're so passionate about it.
Thank you so much for that. And then we're going to open up the floor for questions. So if you have questions, I'm going to come out to you. 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁, I'm circling back to you. Just because I know some more of your story, and I have so much homage to you because you know, you went through a lot even on trying to pass your LSAT, but you went through a lot when it comes to education as well, like in educational leadership. And one thing that I love about you is that you never gave up, you never stopped, you're always going to be that go-getter, and you are a go-getter in everything that you do. So not only are you a lifelong educator and administrator, but you also own your own law firm, but you also dibble and dabble in a little real estate here and there. And so I wanted to ask you, how has building wealth for your family changed your family, and give some advice to the audience members who truly and sincerely want to build wealth for their family, not just as a coin phrase of we're building generational wealth, but how has it impacted you, and then what steps can they take to get to that point?
I think that's a 2 or 3 part question, but I'm going to try to.
It is. Let me add the 4th. Let's see.
I'm going to try to get it to you as best I can. The first thing I would say is mindset. So I think every panelist up here, and probably those that came before us, and any other podcast you've ever heard about, is going to talk to you about your mindset and your belief system. So I think believing in you and what you can do is so important. And I know this is the whole health and wellness panel, so I want to say this is something I heard a very long time ago, because my mind is shifting, right? So what I used to believe and feel and go after is not the same thing that I believe strongly about today, or go after, and all that stuff. It changes, right? When I had children, my outlook on parenting changed. Before kids, I would say, why does this mother and father not get their child together? Or what are they doing, right? And so when I had children, I was like, oh, it's not me, it's them. I get it, so no problem. But anyway, the mind, things change, seriously. So, and people are ever evolving. But this individual, I heard one time, they said something, there's only 2 things that you ever have to worry about in life, right? And that struck me, and I was like, what does he mean there's 2 things? So the 2 things he said that you ever have to worry about in life is, you know, if you're healthy or if you're not. And that's it, right? And that's a whole mindset that covers so many things, because health covers mental, physical, and so many other things. And he said, if you are healthy, you don't have anything to worry about, and you really don't. But if you're unhealthy, you got 2 things to worry about. And I posted that right before our Health and Wellness Summit. And that's gonna be what? Whether you're gonna get better or worse, right? That's it. If you get better, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you get worse, you got 2 things you gotta worry about. But what is that? If you're gonna live, or if you're gonna die. If you live, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you die, you got 2 things you gotta worry about. What's that? If you're going to heaven, or you go to hell. He said, and then, if you go to heaven, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But if you go to hell, you still got 2 things you gotta worry about. Crispy or extra crispy? So, if you really look at it like that, the only thing you ever really have to worry about is health and yourself. So if you get your mindset and your mind right, and you wake up every day to be healthy and important, you, the rest will follow. So I think the biggest thing for me in transforming myself for wealth was, as I was able to achieve some of these goals that I had in life, I was able to get in the room with other individuals who were like-minded, that were able to expose me to different things, that were able to say, hey, you probably should not eat so much fried chicken, right? Or you probably should eat brown rice. And I was like, why would I do that, right? So it was just a shift, right? So shifting little things about, you should probably walk, or you should probably drink water. I remember at 25 or 26, someone said, do you drink water? I said, I don't even like water. And I hear people say that now, right? And that's the craziest thing for me. But at the time, that was so normal for me. I was like, no, I don't even drink water. That's crazy, right? And they were like, why not, right? And so getting around people who start to emulate these things, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see what this word is about, or let me do a little bit better. And then having friends and people that push you, people that will call you and say, look, I need you to walk today. I need you to try today. I need you to be healthier today, or whatnot. So that's just a whole mindset shift. And once I was able to shift my mind, I was able to kind of give that to the people around me, because I love helping them, right? It's no fun if you're the only one who eating healthy. Trust me, it's not, because when you come in the house, all they say is, okay, now she ain't eating nothing but rice today, like, or she only eat lettuce today, or whatever. We ain't doing that. So it's hard, right? So you got to try to bring those people along, and you want them to be living when you're living. You want them to get up when you get up. So, right. And I also heard like mobility and just different things of that nature. So number 1 is mindset. Number 2 is putting yourself around like-minded people, right? Number 3 is being open to different things. Just please be open to different things. Your life is normal because that's your life. That's not somebody else's life, so what's normal to them is going to be different from what's normal to you. So be open to accepting that and understanding that, and always try to do better and put that into people. So I think once I started to do that, that allowed me and my friends and my family to safely say, I want to do more, I want to do better, I want to grow, I want to have more access to money, I want to be able to get up, I want to be able to live out loud. And it's having the conversations and making it normal. When it's not normal, then wealth feels like bragging. Wealth feels like I can't attain it. Wealth feels like I'm better than you, right? And when you have those conversations and it becomes normal, it doesn't feel like that. Wealth starts to feel like, wow, that's an opportunity. I want to give back to the community. I can't give back to the community if I can't give to myself, right? So I can help, I can pour back. We use wealth as tools to grow us. We use wealth as tools to grow the people around us. We use wealth as tools to have and create opportunities to have safe spaces. So it was a mindset shift in keeping a continual growth and open mind to talking to people and learning. And I'm gonna say this as a final closure, reading. My major is English, I'm an English major, reading. Reading opened my eyes to other things. I remember being a little girl and I was like, I may never go here, but I'm gonna read about it. So people would always say, you sleep a lot. Why do you sleep a lot? Because I dream. And I remember saying, when I go to sleep, I have such good dreams. I remember about all the stuff I can do and all the places I can go. And when I read books, it takes me places. So I love the Reading Rainbow because that's how I felt. I felt it took me so many places and that was so amazing. So just continuing to increase your knowledge and expanding and sharing that with people. And then if they hit back in a negative way, then talk them through it. Like, why you said it like that? Like, cause that's not the way I meant it. Like, all right, okay, I'm just saying, like, that's it. Right, talking through it and don't give up on people. Too many of us give up on people way too quick. You just cannot give up on people and yourself.
I thank you for that. Thank you. That's very good. Thank you. I'm gonna put myself on the chopping block for a second, right? So I started off with a dream that it's a dream that confirmed what I'm supposed to be doing in terms of my purpose, right? And so this, what you are sitting in right now, is the dream. It's what I feel is my purpose in conjunction to the other things that I do in education, right? And so in turning our dreams into a business, into something that makes sense in terms of other people just saying, well, why are you doing this? Are you just doing this, because you want to set? Are you just doing this because you want to be an online personality? Like what, it has to make sense. The dollars have to make sense, right? And so I'm putting myself on the chopping block for everybody who has a dream and it has not morphed into what you want it to be right now. I'm 4 years in. And I know that in this space, I'm bringing someone who's never been into this space. I'm bringing someone around people that they've never been around before. Like I am just steadfastly going into a vision that I know God has for me. But then you'll have some people that'll say, is it turning a profit? Well, what's the purpose? Why are you doing it? Mine is impact. I know that I'm making an impact on my community. You are in these seats thus far because that's what it is. I'm able to make the connections that I'm able to make. People have surpassed me in podcast space, and I may not tell you that I helped them, but I did. Like people have surpassed me when it comes to educational work. I don't have to say that I've helped them, but I have. And so to some people, it's just about the dollars. If the dollars don't make sense, then why are you doing this? What really is the impact? You don't have the juice, you don't have the sauce, or you're not in the rooms. Like what would you say in terms of someone doing this the smart way, coupling their business with their dream? So that we don't call it, oh, that's just a pipe dream. Like, how would you advise them to set themselves up for success? Anyone?
Okay. Ladies first. I'm a gentleman. You want to go? Go ahead.
I would say you have to know your purpose, and you're going to get a lot of no's. Not everybody is going to understand what you're trying to do, and they don't need to. It's your dream, not theirs, right? You're going to get a lot of rejection, and that's okay. You really just need to do the work, keep pushing forward. Most of these businesses that you see are 15-year overnight successes. So it looks like they've gotten really successful overnight, but really it's because they put in the hard work. And so I've been in banking for 30 years, and I've been a small business expert for almost that long. And to get time with me, because my time is so limited, if you want to come and sit in a chair and talk to me and get some help, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, do you have a business plan? And most of the time I hear no, and I say, okay, come back and see me when you have a business plan. 9 times out of 10, I never see them again. They don't want to do the work. It's hard. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But I would say, do the work and ask for help, ask those questions, because there's so many resources and people that want to help you.
Yeah, awesome. Anyone else?
Yes, I'll say tune into what you want to turn into. That was like one of the biggest transition, like just driving around every single day, like listening to rap music or R&B, whatever you listening to. Start listening to audio books, things that's gonna actually be empowering. That was one of the biggest transformations, because I don't like to read, but reading is good. I like to listen, So, but that's one of the biggest changes for me, just tuning into different things that actually like fill my spirit and actually gaining knowledge. That way, I really just changed the whole landscape from watching football and sports and apps, like really just like this hustle and this entrepreneurship really took over everything, like really put in the work. I tell my daughters, like even now, I say, I don't know one millionaire that was a valedictorian or a salutatorian, right? So I look at it that way, like it's about the finished product. Like who's going the way, I don't consider myself the smartest person, I don't know everything, but persistent and consistency, I'm gonna put in the work. So that's really what it's about, and that's what you do, putting in the work.
Can I tell you that my high school math teacher told me, you just need to not ever do anything with numbers. Look at me now.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. I love it. I love it. Markeisha, when you think about using your resources effectively, what resources, and I do want to hit on the real estate aspect of it. And I'm saying that because not only is it an aspiration of something I'm going to do, but I know when we do these markups of your road to $1 million, your road to $2 million, your road to being a multi-millionaire, there are things that you have to put in place. And real estate is always one of those hot ticket items if we're looking at itemized ways that you can quickly have wealth. The real estate aspect is the way to go, right? And so what are the resources that you use effectively to navigate real estate effectively?
So I think the first thing I started with was YouTube, like honestly, and talking to people. So I'm gonna go back to that and say, I think the biggest thing you can do is be open to talking to others. Yes. Like anybody who's anyone, like I was always a talker. So it doesn't matter if you are, I used to tell people I can go to the White House and talk to you, or I can go, I'm from Haines City, so we got this street called 11th Street, that's where everybody was sitting at. And I can go up on the tree and talk to the old men, baby, and like put my hair back in some braids and be good, right? That's just who I am. And it's not who I am. I used to hear some people sometimes say, well, you're not true to yourself. And I would say, no, I am, right? There are different facets of me, right? I love being in sweatpants with like my hair just free, and I'm just sitting there and I slip back into dialect that sounds like, ain't, can't, yep, girl, show enough, or whatever. It's like,
Go on, code switch, it's okay. It's okay.
It's crazy because I was in court one day and I was talking and the judge said something, I was like, yep, and he was like, counselor. I was like, yes. That is correct. I was like, woo, Jesus, so it just happens. But, I say that when you are able to fluidly adapt to people and talk, that's when you build that. So I wanted to get into tax deeds, and I heard somebody talking about, you can buy tax deed properties off the auction. Not that I don't want anybody to lose their house or anything like that, but that's a good way to start. And I was like, okay, if I don't have a lot of money, that's what I need to do. Like people keep talking about real estate and talking about all these other things. How easy is it for me to go in the bank and get a loan, right? I love everything what she talked about, but I'm going to give you the converse to that. some people don't have the capacity to do a business plan. Some people don't even understand like how that works and whatnot. And some people are so lost that they don't know who to ask or how to ask. And if you take a 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, or 18, 19-year-old child who's had parents that don't have the capacity to give them that, they don't know who to turn to or where to go. They've asked guidance counselors before who are overworked and underpaid, and they give them the very little bit of time they have. So it's a lot, right? So for me, my biggest thing is time. If you ask me for something, I'm gonna give you my time. Anybody who knows me knows that today my son had a play. Yeah. I had a birthday party beforehand, I made it here, and I got a birthday party after that. I give people my time, and I know that's a lot, and sometimes it takes a lot out of me. I had a kidney stone last week, and if you know anything about kidney stones, they are terrible, but I still went to everything I had to do on Percocet in the car, crying. It was hard, and I kept going or whatnot because I believe in showing up. I believe that you cannot replace time. If I can look at you and tell you that I'll help you, and I tell people that too, call me, help me, but the other thing I do is I follow back up with them. So anyway, I had a girlfriend who said, I bought some property off a tax deed, and I was like, well, how you did that, right? And she was like, I went on YouTube. I was like, well, tell me what you did. She was like, I went on YouTube. So I was like, you know what, she ain't finna tell me I ain't got time to run behind her. So I'm finna go on YouTube, right? So I went on YouTube, and it said, you know, look at a property or go to real auction. And so I went to real auction, and it said right there a couple of steps to do. It was like right online. So most of us right now have access to smartphones, have access to data, right? Or someone who could read it and disseminate it for us. It's online. So I thought, I'm gonna try it. And then I called her back because some people now don't think that everybody doesn't have the time slot to be able to tell you every single thing along the way, and I do think you have to work for some things. But I remember calling her back and I said, this is what I found on YouTube, and this is what I'm gonna do. And she was like, oh, no, you can't do that, do this, right? And so maybe she was one of those people who wanted me to do something, and then now she can have a conversation with me to say, okay, that's not what I did, that's not what that meant, right? Instead of her just front loading and giving it to me. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I wrote the steps down. So right now, if you ask me how to buy a tax deed property, I'm gonna go on my phone and I'm gonna text you the text that I made standard. When anybody asks me, got like 40 steps on it, and there you go, right? And I tell
after
people
this.
It don't even really matter for me, right? Honey, you call me, it don't matter, text me. So that's how it started. And I remember getting into real estate like that. And the first property I bought, I think we bought it for maybe like, I don't know, maybe like, okay, that wasn't the first property I bought. You know what I did? I started speaking. Let me back up. I started speaking, and someone had a property for sale, and they sold it to somebody else for like $10,000. And I remember saying, I wish you had told me about it. And they were like, I didn't even know you wanted to be in real estate. So talking. Just saying, like, I want to buy houses, right? So they felt so bad about it because I mentioned it every year, right? I was like, I wish I could have did that. I wish I could have did that. And they came across another house, and they said, I'll sell this house for $3,000. And it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, just like any other over there. They was like, I don't want it, and I feel so bad. I should have offered you the last one. And I said, I'll meet you at the bank. I'll meet you at the bank today, baby. So that was my first house. And then, you know, I got into the tax deeds. It was around the same time. And then that tax deed sale, I think we were able to get it for like, I don't know, it was maybe $19,000 or something, but it was a 5-bedroom, 2-bathroom house with 2 full kitchens, a porch, and all kinds of things like that. So it was one of those things, and I've gotten some land for cheaper too, like $1,000 or $2,000, it just depends. But that's what I could start with. So I used what I could start with to get into it. But I looked online and I asked, and I went back to people. So I just put a little bit of work into it, and that has helped. So real estate really has given my family a different avenue as well, because that'll be something that, you know, we can leave and we can pass down. I think I used to hear people say a good person leaves an inheritance for their children. But I thought it was really their children's children, right? So like it's the grandkids. It's not necessarily for these kids right here, it's for them. So that's how you're supposed to build that legacy and that wealth and travel it down. So time and talking.
Time and talking. So y'all ready to talk? Do you guys have any questions for the panelists before we switch to panel 3? Any questions about health? Any questions about wealth? Hey, Stacy. Brought the whole family. Hey, baby, how you doing? Any questions about health and wealth?
Where I can get Miss Martin's business card.
My what?
I said, I just want to know where I can get your business card.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I have a ton in my purse.
Okay.
I'll get something deeper than that. You want to ask for the business card? She want to talk business later. Okay. You don't want to tell what your business is. I got it. Question. Chef May Renee has some fine delicacies over here. So after this or during this next break, make sure you come over here for her.
My question is, I know Markeisha, you were saying about time. How do you find the time to rest? Because I go off of 2-3 hours of sleep, and I need to try to find that balance of, I do work at the hospital, I'm in nursing, but I also have my own business that I've been building. But it's time when it comes down to sleeping, time for myself. That's my struggle right now.
So I'll tell you what someone told me a long time ago. When you're trying to be great, you won't have a lot of rest. And I hate that. That's the truth of it, right? So it requires work and it requires time. So when I was in law school, I was in a very tight time crunch. I got dehydrated. I was hospitalized continually. It was a lot. And I remember my doctor said, hey, I don't know what is going on in your life, but you cannot operate like this for much longer. So I said, well, I don't plan to. I'll graduate in another year and a half, as long as I can get there, right? And so you do have to have a plan. You can't run on fumes forever, right? So it's that whole thing in your 20s, like, you learning or whatever, your 30s, you're building or whatever by the time you get to your 40s, right? So some of that is planning, right? So when you are building a business, you're gonna put a lot of time in. So you're gonna have to mark your days and take your time, but you're gonna have to understand that your time is not your time. It's just not, because it's the business's time, it's the kids' time, it's whoever that is, but using some type of calendar system helps. When I first started, I was doing maybe 20-hour days, and when I was asleep, I turned my phone completely off. So that's one thing I did. If I could only get 4 hours of quality sleep, it was going to be off. It wasn't going to be on where it would alert me and I would wake up. My husband is different, right? He'll sleep for 2 hours and then someone alerts him on the phone and he'll get up and then he'll have broken sleep. I won't do that. So if I only have 4 hours, I always tell people, then if you can't reach me, go straight to voicemail, that's why. So my phone stays on D&D during that time, and I have to be settled enough in my understanding to know that if an emergency happens and I can't get to it, then that was the choice I made. You gotta live with your choices, right? But I talk to my kids and stuff like that too, like, hey, look, mom is on D&D, you need to call 911. I mean, honestly, I'm not a doctor, you need to call 911 anyway, right? Then me, like, you don't call the job and say, come on, call, 911, and then we take care of it, right? So that's what you have to do. You have to make sure that you're hardcore on the time that you schedule. Now, I'm gonna fast forward this and say where I am at today. Today I schedule time. My office closes at noon on Fridays for me and my staff. Because if I can't function on a 5-day week, how can they? Right? So we all go home, right? And that's just that. We don't work on the weekends, right? Like, you may get me on an emergency or something like that. I'm willing to miss those things now. Because once you build so much, at some point you got to be able to say, this is the goal, I met the goal, I'm okay if I don't get any more. And God has done enough. So if he don't do no more, he's done enough, right? And so if they can't wait till Monday, that's okay, right? And so I can set those parameters now. I go work out every single morning now, right? I meditate every morning. It's gonna be to God. It's gonna be doing, conferences and, church things and all that stuff or whatever. But that came much later after 25 years of grinding. Now, what I will say is at some point, if you're still grinding after 25 years, right, you do have to get someone to help you reallocate and rebalance, right? And because it's not about what you're doing, how you're doing. I used to tell my teachers this all the time. Don't come in here telling me that you've been here for 12 hours because Sue ain't been here for 5 hours and her kids is knocking out the ballpark. See, some people here working just to work. You ain't really doing much of nothing. So what are you doing in the time that you're working? It's okay to literally send that to somebody and say, am I utilizing all my time? I can tell you right now, I utilize every hour of my day to the max. I'm an organizer, I'm a planner. My husband does not. He loses so much time, but he just will not do what I asked him to do. He get that time back. He don't want to reclaim his time. So do you want to reclaim your time or not? Because I guarantee you there's some gaps that we can talk about later, and I can probably help you with that.
So I consider myself the fattest health nut you ever seen. So yeah. So I know all the knowledge, but I can't stick to it, But I always look at alternative measures, like when it comes to health, like medication is not always the route all the time, like looking to holistic health. I work for the company that pay my bills so I can have a business. I work for a company called Evolutionary Healthcare, so we do holistic health and functional medicine. It's a multi-specialty physician group. But we specialize in osteopathic manipulative treatment. which really helps alleviate chronic pain and neuromuscular issues. So there's other alternatives out there than just getting pain medication. And there's other options, even for GERD, COPD, different issues that your loved ones may have that we don't look into as a community to even investigate. So do your research. I always tell people, you always, probably 9 times out of 10, you laying up at night on your phone researching, looking at TikTok. Use some of that time like to research or look up something, 30 minutes. You did 30 minutes. One advice with the lady right here, what helped me out was a book called Get That Frog. I didn't read it. It was an audio book. It's free on YouTube. But it's free on YouTube, but it really helped me with prioritization. It helped me with time blocking. That's a big thing. You stick to your time blocking, stick to those things, you really can grow, and you can still handle a whole lot of things, but if you stick to that. But that's really my last words. Take advantage of opportunities that's given to you. Networking is big. That's all I like. The world is truly about who you know. You can be the smartest thing, but if you can't get things done through other people, you won't grow. You won't understand what type of world, who controls different aspects of life, and be real, know how to play the game. That's what I did. Thank y'all.
Absolutely. I would say be honest with yourself. Surround yourself with people who will be honest with you. I would also say that you need to be mobile. Mobility is so key. Your 40s, they say sometimes 50s and 60s is your next best time to make sure that the rest of your life is going to be good to you. And the only way to do that is mobility. I didn't know that. I used to work out a lot. I still work out, but being mobile is key. Moving your hip flexors, things of that nature, and stretching. So if there's anything that I can tell you, I promise you today, it is going to be to move, to increase your mobility, and to stretch, right? And then to believe in some type of higher power. No matter what that is, figure that out. Because when you align in those ways, the rest a lot of times will come if you stay open. Just open to new things.
There's so much, right? So it's a little tough to put a bow on it, but I would say for me and in my experience, I'm really grateful that God showed me years ago that really fear is fake. So I have found, after the accident, I really started changing my mindset, obviously, and changing my life. And I thought, well, gosh, I used to be afraid. I'm not anymore. What if fear is really just excitement and a different feeling, and we've just been told wrong our whole lives? And so what I found, that the things that scared me the most is really where success lies. So my words to you, and what I try to leave people with, if you take anything away from today's conversation, when something scares you, that means success is right behind it. So run as fast and as hard as you can at the things that scare you the most, because that's where you're going to find your success.
That's good.
Really good. Really good.
Very good. Very good. Thank you so much for that. We're going to get a picture with panel 2, and then right after panel 2, not taking a break, we're going to get right into panel 3. So if you guys love panel 2, give them a round of applause.